Welcome to the Library Connection. I'm Tracey Thomas, Director at the B.B. Comer Library, and I want to thank you so much for joining us today. I also want to thank TV47 for always giving us this wonderful outlet to share with you what we've got going on at the library. And today we've got a special guest. We've got Dr. Shirley Spears with us, and Dr. Spears is the treasurer of the B.B. Comer Memorial Library Foundation. And so today we're going to talk about the wonderful library that we have. We would not have what we have today, Dr. Spears, if it had not been for the formation of the Library Foundation so many years ago. And you were instrumental in that. And I think a lot of people look at what we have and maybe they don't quite understand that we would not be what we are without the Foundation's support through the years. So thank you so much for coming on today and being willing to share with us some of the history of this organization that is such a wonderful complement to the B.B. Comer Memorial Library.
Well, Tracey, I appreciate so much the chance to talk about the B.B. Comer Library Foundation because, you know, it's been a long journey and 27 years, and that's a long time to stick with anything with passion and with believing that it's the right thing to do and that you're giving people opportunities. So it's just been a blessing to me to be able to work with something where you could see such results. It really has.
Well, we've talked on shows before, and people may have seen some of the presentations we've done where we've talked about the evolution of the library through the years. And so when you came to the B.B. Comer Memorial Library, that we call it the 79 building, had been built. And because the library that we renovated was a 1979 library. So when you came and people said, why do you think this needs to be bigger than what it is? We were so proud to have what we had, but you had such a vision for what it was going to grow into.
Well, I'll have to say that when I came to the library, I can remember so well walking in that building. It was so beautiful. It was 21,000 foot building, and we had been so fortunate to have a mayor like Curtis Lyles and a director like Miss Carolyn Goff that had the vision to get ready to have a library bigger than the one down the street where the museum is now. So I walked in that building and I couldn't have ever envisioned doing anything to that library except enjoying it, because everything was just drawn to perfection. It's 5 years old, still so new looking and so pretty. But in a short while, not too long after I came there, I started to see the functional part of it, and how that in many ways we needed more than what we had, because we didn't have defined areas, for example, for children's services. We had no service on the second floor. Is that believable? Yeah. We had the books up there, the children's books up there. There was not even a desk up there. And so we had, you know, if we had children come in, somebody would go up and help them find a book or something like that. And we had a little summer reading program and all of the above. And that was typical for the times. It wasn't that Sylacauga was that far behind with library service. In fact, we did have a beautiful building. So in finding that we just needed more, we needed more meeting space, we needed to define children's area, we needed more things that made it usable by the public. And in many ways, you probably can identify with that, in that you've seen things now with the new technology age, that you've made changes and tried to move forward with a more usable space. So that's kind of what we found. But once we started trying to work with that building, and then of course, and it wasn't too long after we set the foundation up that technology did come in. About '94, we automated our catalog. And so all of a sudden we realized we didn't have a building that was
the infrastructure was not there.
The infrastructure was not there, and you couldn't really figure out how to put it there without making it look bad. So we just worked and worked with that. But in talking about the foundation itself and how that idea came about, Mr. Brown, you know, had been on that board for many, many years when I came there. And he was a very philanthropic person. And he had in his mind that maybe the B.B. Comer Memorial Library, knowing that we had a good city budget and how much we needed to and did appreciate the city and the fact that they were interested in us having a good library in Sylacauga. But he also knew that in order, because of the tax structure, the way things are set up, the way libraries are funded, he knew that for us to really move forward and do different things and to make progress, that we would have to come up with, and he knew about foundations because he gave to other foundations. he thought they were the way to go, and so he started talking about a foundation to me about 3 years before we put a foundation in. Then the schools came in and they put their foundation in place, and there we sat with a shining example in front of us that you could do it and how it could be done. And I'll always remember and be so grateful to Lister Proctor, because I went to see Lister about it, and he had set the school foundation up. And so he said, well, you know, he would just be glad to help me. And of course, he had Joanne Clark working with him, and they set our library foundation up for us and sort of patterned it a little bit after the school foundation. So there we were, we did legally have a foundation. Now, as far as knowing how to run that foundation and how to make money with it, that was trial and error, and I'm so happy that, you know, we found some ways to find funding. And our goal was always, we never talked about it, we didn't set a big goal out there in front of the public because people knew we had a nice big library, but we always knew that we wanted to expand our library so that we had more meeting space, we had a more user-friendly library. So that was always our goal. And so along the way, as we raised funds for 12 years, we would set small goals and show them to the public, and this is what a foundation can do for you, and it worked very well for us. It really did.
So the foundation was set up in 1991. The first project that the foundation did, was it the automation project?
Well, actually, the first project that we ever did was, quote, a new bookshelf upstairs. And oh, I just thought that was so wonderful. We had 6 sections of shelving, and it was the magazine type flap shelving so that you could put pictures on the front. And we put this big new book sign over it, and it was out in what's the main library now upstairs. But we could showcase our new books. And I remember that Harry gave the first gift to the foundation, and the charter gift. He wanted to be the charter giver. So we took that money and did that new bookshelf with it. Now, later, when we started working with matching grants, which is one of the big functions of a library foundation, if you can find money somewhere else and you can match it, you don't have to worry about trying to get your city to match a grant or trying to find an individual. You've accumulated some money you can use to make more money. So when automation started coming in, you remember, Tracey, we did it incrementally. And we just couldn't do a big automation project like many libraries did. We did a conversion of the collection first, and we did it step by step. And we wrote grants every step of the way. And we did use foundation money, and in many ways that was our first important project, I think, that we did, because people were beginning to ask about automation and why we didn't have a automated catalog and that kind of stuff. And it was daunting because we had almost 100,000 books even back then. But to make that transition was a lot of hard work.
It was. I remember the day that we were closed for a couple of days, and we had stacks and stacks of barcodes that had been generated
for
all the books, smart barcodes. And so we had to, the staff, we had to go out and find this specific book with this specific number, and we had to affix those barcodes. So it was a huge undertaking to automate the collection, but I think it was one of the processes that helped us move forward into the new age. And as you said, put the infrastructure in place for what we needed, where we needed to go.
It definitely did. And you mentioned something before we started this show this morning about, you know, why a foundation? Because we knew so many libraries that had friends groups and little fundraising groups and all that, and there's nothing wrong with that. They're wonderful, and they serve such a great purpose, particularly for small libraries. But we knew that there are many big grant-making organizations that will give only to foundations and 501c3 organizations. So we wanted to be able to go for as much money as we could find.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk some more about the B.B. Comer Memorial Library Foundation with Dr. Shirley Spears.
Hot under the collar because your basement is full of water? Call a local company you can trust. Ox Foundation Solutions. We use the most advanced water management system to stop water from invading your basement for good. Things feeling a little uneven at home? Ox Foundation Solutions will fix your uneven concrete sidewalk, driveway, or basement in no time. Ox Foundation Solutions has the best plan to keep your home safe. If you are experiencing any issues with your sidewalks, basement, crawl space, or foundation, get a free estimate from Ox Foundations.
As a fitness instructor and former collegiate athlete, I know the importance of eating healthy and staying fit. Hi, I'm Isaac Jennings. Did you know that free after-school meals are available throughout Talladega County for children of the ages of 18 years and under? Please contact Safe Family Services Center if you would like to know more information. And remember, every meal matters, and it all starts with you. Get healthy, Talladega County.
Coosa Valley Medical Center, one of the top 10 hospitals in Alabama, is also Sylacauga's largest employer. Services from the emergency room to surgery to cancer treatment to post-stroke care. You won't believe what's right in your backyard. It's Coosa Valley Medical Center in Sylacauga. So, if you're sick in Alabama, choose one of the top 10 hospitals in Alabama. That is Coosa Valley Medical Center.
Welcome back to the Library Connection. I'm Tracey Thomas, and this morning we're talking with Dr. Shirley Spears, and Dr. Spears is the treasurer of the B.B. Comer Memorial Library Foundation. And before the break, Dr. Spears, we were talking about you had such a vision that when you came to work at the Comer Library, there was this great building already there, but you saw some needs for some things, even like you just mentioned, we didn't even have a desk upstairs on the second floor. And so with the foundation, there are some avenues, some opportunities for grant funding, and you were mentioning that before the break.
Yes, if you, as I've said many times before, we're so fortunate that Sylacauga's kind of a library town, so we've always had a good budget to run our library with and to operate with. But if you intend to do anything that's way above and beyond, and you really want to have a spectacular library, which I really did, I like to make A's, then you have to find other ways to do it, and I think you have a responsibility to find other ways to do it. And for example, there are no other avenues. For example, you may have millage for schools to build buildings with, or maybe special taxes, that sort of thing. In Talladega County, for facilities and that sort of thing for our libraries, that's never been true. So we knew that if we expanded our building, if we made it user-friendly in the manner that today, with you being there where you are right now and having worked there for 17 years, then you still can see ways to repurpose the space, to make changes. You have to change with the times. And change is one of the hardest things there is to do, but it's one of the most important things there is to do. But over the years, we found that people do understand the concept of giving to a library foundation. And in fact, when we started that building project, we had $1.5 million in our hands to put with the city's funding that they could come up with for us to do that building with. So that was huge for us, and we continue to be very proud of it. The foundation board is very proud of our accomplishments.
Well, I think it's time, let's take a look at a few pictures of some of the services that we offer that the foundation helps to support.
Right.
And this picture we're looking at here is a picture of our brown bag audience. And I believe this was Elnora Spencer. This was the opening brown bag program that we had this year. Brown bag's always been one of your babies, Dr. Spears. You helped create this program, and you've built it into such a wonderful audience. Why don't you speak to the brown bag programs?
Well, I think it goes back to my tremendous love for history and literature, but it also speaks, I think, to the fact that there are so many people out there who need something to do. They need something to stimulate their mind, and for us to stimulate reading, because programs do stimulate reading, as you have seen. It generates readership. So that was kind of the thought behind that, was to, give people something to do, something to think about, which would further interest them in the library. You always have your program in mind when you do that. We started out very small, outgrew the room, and I'll have to say, if there's anything that convinced people in this town that we might need more library, it was having 90 people crammed upstairs in a room for 60, and all of a sudden you had guys that you never thought would come around saying, hey, I believe we do need more space here. So there was really a need in Sylacauga for the kind of building facility that we came up with, and it has been, I think, the heartbeat of our town since it was built.
Sure, and the The facility is part of it, but also the ability to provide the programs that we have in the facility. And Brown Bag is one of those. Another thing that we're so proud of is that when people walk in, they say, you know, this doesn't feel just like just a library. This feels like so much more. And so we've got a picture here of one of the things we're so proud of, and that's our marble collection that we have in the library. And this is a tour of some school kids that were in just a few weeks ago. And the marble has been such a big draw for the library.
It has, and aren't the children fascinated with it? To think about it.
The adults too.
Yeah, and we get groups from all over the state of Alabama that come in to see our marble, because I don't really know that people realize there's not much marble sculpture in the state of Alabama. There's not much marble sculpture, Sylacauga marble, anywhere. If it's out there, you know, maybe we don't know exactly where it is, or it may be in the homes of people who were well enough off to afford it at the time that Moretti was here or whatever. But it's just unique, and I think anytime you can make yourself unique, and marbles are, you know, it's kind of our unique resource. So for the library to capitalize on that, and again, we wrote the grants for it, and brought in those Italian sculptor, and so, I mean, it was only natural for us to get the sculpture if we did the hard work behind the grant writing.
I think so too. One of the other programs that the foundation has helped so much support and helped us build such a good children's program. And so the next picture we're going to take a look at, this is one of our summer reading programs. And of course the animal programs are always great, but we have got the best audiences the last few years for our summer reading programs. And again, having the facility to accommodate a crowd like this that you see in this picture is thanks to the foundation. But the foundation also allows us to help bring in some great performers.
Well, it does, and you know, the thing about service at the B.B. Comer Library, and looking back over the 30 years that I was there, is it was so incremental. You would write one grant at a time and add one thing, and I never believed in adding anything else until you did pretty well with what you had. So that program of service with children's was built that way. Now, in my mind's eye, I think one of the best things that ever happened to us was when you came to work in '93, because Tracey came in with a heart for children and a love for children's services. We'd had some good children's librarians before, but they didn't stay very long. You know, it'd be young people and they would marry and move on and whatever. But when we finally got some continuity to our program, we started building one facet of children's service. We had the summer reading program. That program's over 70 years old. And we have grandparents now that are bringing children to it. We had that. But adding all these other things to it, and then having one of the top 10 teen programs in the United States when you were doing children youth services there. So yes, it all does go back to finding the money, having the idea, and learning to execute one thing at a time and add it. And then you keep up what you're doing and you just keep adding to it. And all of a sudden, I thought we had one of the best children and youth services programs in the country.
Well, thank you, but I think it was more of a case you got me and couldn't get rid of me. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to take a look at a couple more pictures of some of the programs and services that the foundation has been so wonderful to help us implement.
Hot under the collar because your basement is full of water? Call a local company you can trust. Ox Foundation Solutions. We use the most advanced water management system to stop water from invading your basement for good. Things feeling a little uneven at home? Ox Foundation Solutions will fix your uneven concrete sidewalk, driveway, or basement in no time. Ox Foundation Solutions has the best plan to keep your home safe. If you are experiencing any issues with your sidewalks, basement, crawl space, or foundation, get a free estimate from Ox Foundations.
As a fitness instructor and former collegiate athlete, I know the importance of eating healthy and staying fit. Hi, I'm Isaac Jennings. Did you know that free after-school meals are available throughout Talladega County for children of the ages of 18 years and under? Please contact Safe Family Services Center if you would like to know more information. And remember, every meal matters, and it all starts with you. Get healthy, Talladega County.
Coosa Valley Medical Center, one of the top 10 hospitals in Alabama, is also Sylacauga's largest employer. Services from the emergency room to surgery to cancer treatment to post-stroke care. You won't believe what's right in your backyard. It's Coosa Valley Medical Center in Sylacauga. So, if you're sick, in Alabama, choose one of the top 10 hospitals in Alabama. That is Coosa Valley Medical Center.
Welcome back to the Library Connection. Today we're talking with Dr. Shirley Spears, and Dr. Spears is the treasurer of our Library Foundation. And we've been talking before the break, we were talking about some of the programs and services that the Library Foundation has helped us to build up, to implement and to build up. So we're going to take a look at another picture now. I love this. This is a couple of little boys using the children's picture book collection. And you know, books are expensive.
They are.
And to have a great collection, you have to really work hard to build that. And the foundation has allowed us to build what I think is one of the best children's picture book collections in the area, if not the state.
It is, and I'm amazed at how expensive books are, and that when a customer walks out, just to show you what a valued service we have, you may walk out with $500 or $600 worth of books in a book bag when you walk out of our library. So I mean, there's so much value to the library. We've calculated before the value of the library, and it's incredible what the public's getting out of the library.
I think so too. And we've got one last picture we'll take a look at, and this is just another picture of just children's services. And we have story time, and to really do a good job with your story time and your STEAM kits to check out to homeschoolers and teachers, you have to have some additional support, and the foundation helps to provide those things that allow us to give experiences like this to kids in the community, and we're proud of that.
Well, and one thing that we always try to focus is what's called out of class time. And there are so many kids that they're entertained and they're taught and they're instructed while they're in school, and they learn so much and they have fun and they network and socialize. But during the summer, after school, on weekends, we're there. And those happy faces, that's summertime. And many of them are in child care groups, or they're down at the day camp, maybe they're swimming and doing that kind of thing. But this brings a little bit of the intellectual, it brings a little bit of the stimulation of reading, that kind of thing. So I think the library plays an important role in, quote, out of class time, when we can really touch them in a way that's different from other programs.
I think so too. One of the things we've always been really proud of with the foundation is we know that the majority of our donations come from local people. So we know that this is the kind of support they want to give, because they want the kind of library that we have in Sylacauga. And so there are some ways that people can give, and actually right now we have our foundation membership drive going on.
Right, we do. We kicked off our membership drive about a couple of weeks ago, and we're beginning to get our returns. They're looking good, and people are joining. We do have different classes of membership, and I'll have to say we've had giving on all of those levels, whether it's $1,000 or $10,000 or $25,000. We do have the Friends category, where for $25 that these people who really maybe they don't have any money to give to the library once they've given to their church and to other organizations, but they want to make a statement that, hey, I want to be a friend and I want to support. I enjoy the brown bag lectures. I enjoy being able to walk in and take out a sack full of books, and I want to make this statement by joining and being a friend. So those $25 add up.
They do.
They mean a lot to us. I've always treated a $25 or $10 gift just exactly like I do a $1,000 gift, which is with gratitude and thanks, and being so glad that somebody cares about us. So giving those opportunities to people that do have money to give, and many people do have money that they give, and they're trying to find good ways to give it away. So I think a public library is the most democratic of all institutions. We serve everyone, from, we used to say cradle to the grave. I don't know if that sounds positive or not. But we do have very old customers. I'm about to become one of them. And we have very, very young, where people will come for the board books. And they bring their kids to, do a lap sit or sit and listen to a story, or they'll take them up and read to them or whatever. But there are so many ways. You can donate online. We do a huge mail out. We send out about 600 requests for donations. And we do hope that if you live in this town, if you use our library, you certainly don't have to give anything and you don't have to pay anything. But it is very encouraging to us if you put us on your list, if you have a list.
Well, and if you've never given a donation to the library, you can join like a member. As you said, we have a membership drive going on. But you can also support the library just through donations. And if you've never done that before, then you don't know what a treat you're in for, because Dr. Spears puts a lot of thought into the letters and the correspondence that go along with that. So if you want to do an honor gift or a memorial gift for someone, we always put beautiful plates in the front of our children's picture books that you saw a while ago. We put beautiful plates in there saying who gave it, who it's in honor of or in memory of. And we just had somebody the other day say to us, you know, that meant so much to her children that they sat down with her grandchildren over the holidays and they picked up a book, and it was one that their family had done. And so it just meant so much to them to see their name in the book.
That has been very popular over the years, and it has meant so much to me. It's been a very special project for me. I do honor books, I do memorial books, and you do too. And sometimes you just know people that have everything, and one more gadget won't mean anything to them, and so you can do an honor or memorial gift, and we can mark a book, or we always send a nice letter though.
Your letters are great.
Yeah,
and
thank you.
And people say that, you know, Dr. Spears actually thinks about the person that gave it. She thinks about the person who it's in honor, or the family that it's going to, if it's in memory of somebody. And that personal touch means a whole lot.
It does, and it means a lot to me. It's my pleasure to do that, because if you think enough of me and the library and Tracey and the staff and the boards that work so hard with us to give us money, we think enough of you to say thank you in a very special way, and to make your money work for you in terms of friendship.
I know one thing that we have talked about to some extent, you and I have, is the new tax law that's coming in, and this is the last year that people will be able to itemize. But I feel so good about our foundation and about the people that give to our foundation, because we have a base of givers, and we hope that that will increase. But we have a base of people that I think they give simply because they like what they get out of it.
I think so. I think the majority of our donors don't really have the tax thing in mind when they give. It will only be people who really, really, really have a lot of money that will be itemizing, I think, after this year, because the deduction is pretty high. So everybody's been looking, all the charities have been looking to see what kind of impact it would have on their donations. I do know that some people are bunching, or they're giving this year a lot more than they've been giving, because maybe it is the last year that they will be itemizing. And so it's just something that I really do believe that people who give to the library and to the church and to these organizations that are service organizations, and in this town, to ARC and to the museum and to places like that, I think they're going to give anyway. I have every confidence that it will not stop anyone from being a member of the library and enjoying being a supporter. I think it will work. I don't believe it will work against us. I think it will be a good thing.
I think so too. And you know, we have the holidays coming in, and we have a lot of people that will say, hey, I want to give a donation, and I want you to send letters to my child's daycare teacher, to you know, to the babysitter. I want to send something to the grandparents, because like you said, when people have everything they need, it's nice to find a unique way to give a gift.
I think it is, and I think too that the new tax laws, hopefully people have more money to give away.
Well, we're just about out of time, but if you would like to make a donation to the Library Foundation, you can always just walk in the front door of the library and leave that, and we'll get that to the right hands. And we are out of time, Dr. Spears, but thank you so much for coming on to share this information with us.
Well, and we have that donate button on the website.
On the website.
Don't forget that, and I do appreciate every gift, no matter how small or how large. They're all important, and we use it only for the library.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
I think that's pretty good, Tracey. It's hard to, that's a big